Hey guys, welcome to this video. My name is Emily, also known as Emily the Mystic, and in this video, I'm giving you all of the juicy details of my spiritual awakening and how I became a psychic medium, so you're not going to want to miss this one. All right, guys, so let's get into my story. I love talking about my story. I'm sure I will make more videos about this because there's so much that goes into it. But to go over some of the main details today. So, when I was growing up, I was obsessed with all things mystical and magical. I remember when I was little, my mom would take me to Barnes and Noble almost every single week, and I would just spend so much time in the New Age section, devouring as many books as I could about being psychic, numerology, auras, tarot cards, like all of that good stuff. I loved every single bit of it. And I still have a lot of those books today, which is so funny to me. This was around the age of like 10, 11 years old. And I didn't receive these interest from anybody else. Maybe I watched a few paranormal TV shows. I liked watching Sylvia Browne with my mom. I liked watching John Edward with my mom. But I didn't really have friends that were super interested in the spiritual topics, but I was still really fascinated by them. I also was obsessed with fairies when I was a child. One of my best friend and I growing up were just in love with the fairies, writing letters to them. We would receive letters back. And I am convinced to this day, I know in my heart and soul that fairies are real and that I was really connecting with elemental beings at that time. So it's just really cool to look back on all of those things and realize that those were little breadcrumbs from my soul telling me that I had this special path and purpose. That is what I am doing here now today. So moving into grade school, I was really artistic, super creative, loved everything craft oriented. I was always the child in Brownie, Girl Scout meetings who wanted to craft when everyone else wanted to like run outside. I was just like diligently doing my art thing. And I was just very into being a creative, kind of free-spirited child. I loved to wear sparkly, bright colors and just really be myself. I went to Catholic school for 12 years, so wearing a uniform was hard for me because it kind of took away some of my creativity and my ability for self-expression. So Catholic school was a really interesting experience for a budding psychic medium to be surrounded by all these different beliefs that kind of differed from what my soul was calling me to do. So, because of all of those different things going on, I went to high school, and some of these little mystical traits kind of got buried by normal teenage life. I always felt intuitive, and I always felt I was always reading people. I was a very quiet child, the person that's like secretly reading your energy and not really saying a lot because they are really really feeling and knowing what you are going through without having to say anything. So that was kind of my experience with high school as well. I was really obsessed with mandalas, and I would draw mandalas all over my arms, which was really interesting. And I just loved, again, art, creative things, and so forth. But I didn't really start connecting and working with my psychic gifts in grade school and so forth. I had all of these interests, but my gifts were not so open for me, and I'm so blessed to be able to say that I felt like I was absorbing energy and tons of information from other people all of the time. They were very controlled when I was growing up, which I'm very, very, very grateful for. Just grateful for my soul for choosing that for myself and not feeling and receiving tons of information as a child, because that can be really scary and that can be really intense. So moving into college, in college I had I went to Temple University in Philadelphia, And I had still carried some of my mystical interests with me. Crystals, absolutely loved crystals. We got really into yoga my senior year of college, kind of wanted to open up a yoga studio. Again, that was my soul telling me that I had this alternative path that I need to discover, but I didn't really want to consider it at the time. I've always been super into astrology, so that kind of love followed me all throughout college. I studied abroad in Paris and traveled all over Europe, which is one of my absolute favorite memories and favorite parts of my life experience to date was doing so much traveling. I'm such a free-spirited, artistic, independent person, and being able to wander and travel to me is just like so fulfilling and just makes my heart feel so full. So that experience of being in Paris and traveling was just so wonderful. And my soul just felt called to all of these different places. I know that I absolutely had a past life in Paris at some point because that place to me felt like home for so long. Oh my gosh, I'm like, oh, I love Paris so much. I could talk about it for hours. But anyway, so moving on from college and that experience, then I moved into having a corporate job. And I never realized this at the time, but working in an office environment was very overwhelming for me. And I would come home from work feeling so exhausted and drained and stressed from receiving and pulling in so much energy from other people. And I had no idea what was going on. I was traveling to New York City a lot for work, and I would come home from those days feeling nauseous and like sick because I had been around so much energy and I couldn't describe or put a word to why I was feeling this way. None of my coworkers loved that experience of traveling to New York. Not doing that anymore because of COVID, but those New York trips were really rewarding for a lot of my coworkers, and I just never felt the same way. And I just couldn't I couldn't explain why I felt not so great coming home from those trips. And then on the weekends, I would go through these spells of just like stress and anxiousness. I couldn't relax. I couldn't sit down and watch TV. I just felt off. I felt like I wasn't grounded. I wasn't in my body. I couldn't describe how I was feeling other than anxious and stressed. And I just put it off as being, part of being in a high-powered corporate environment. This is how you're meant to feel. This is what life is supposed to be like. Just, relax, like watch more TV, just try to get your mind off of it. It's not a big deal, was kind of what my story was. And I lived that way for a very long time, always struggling with sleeping and insomnia and just not feeling like myself. Just feeling this sense of like not being in the right place without being able to describe what was wrong. So amazing. Moving into COVID-19, that was a really, really powerful time for me to be able to work from home. All of a sudden, I felt amazing. I was being in my own space. I wasn't surrounded by other people's energy all the time. I felt normal. Oh my gosh, I just had another memory to recall of like working in an office space that some of you might relate to. Before I move on to post office, I would have to do presentations for work, or I would have to speak in front of a group, and I could not speak often. I would have to introduce myself, and I would get so tongue-tied that I couldn't speak or form words. This was so embarrassing, so stressful, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Well, meanwhile, my soul was calling me to do so many other things, which is why I was having those symptoms. And I also had such a blocked throat chakra from not being myself for so long and for trying to hide my like real true identity for so long. So anyway, moving into COVID-19, I am one of those spiritual awakening during COVID-19 people. I admit it 100%. So about a year ago, I actually started a business. My soul felt called to help people with health and fitness. So I started doing health and fitness coaching. I got my personal training certification. I was obsessed with strength training and helping other people live healthy lifestyles. And that became my real time passion. And moving into COVID-19 was perfect because I was working from home. I had more time to devote to my new business, to be able to study for my PT certification, to help more people, all of these good things. I was feeling amazing. And finally, some of those stressful feelings just started dropping away. And then my soul called me to listen to a podcast about spirituality, and it was like a light switch flipped. All of a sudden, I was like, wait, what? This is all the stuff I was obsessed with in childhood. Wait, are you kidding? I'm like so into this again. And I just started going for long walks and listening to spirituality podcasts and feeling so in tune and so connected again. Finally something clicked for me. Finally something made sense. And I remember listening to a podcast about spirit guides, and I was like so excited about connecting with my spirit guides. So I did a meditation, found one on YouTube, did the meditation. And as soon as I did it, such a release of energy. I had tears just like streaming down my face because the level of connection and love and homecoming that I felt in that moment was unbelievable. I never felt that way in my entire life. And all of a sudden, this whole new world, this whole new beautiful spirit world opened up to me in that moment. And everything just has snowballed from there. So shortly after that, I had a reading with a well-known shaman who told me, like, you're so much on the right path now. Like, this is amazing that you're starting a business. Oh, by the way, you can talk to the other side. I was like, what? What do you mean I can talk to the other side? Like, what does that even mean? I had no idea. I almost like fell out of my chair at that point, and I went into that weekend being like what? What does this mean? Like, I was so overwhelmed by that. But it really opened up and started my psychic development process and my mediumship process. And mediumship is the modality of connecting to loved ones on the other side. And so I started reading a lot of books, taking courses, reading everything I could, listening to podcasts, consuming content about spiritual topics. It became my absolute obsession. And I did a mediumship development course. And the first reading that I did for someone else was so easy for me. It was just like, again, like a light switch, easiest thing in the world. It was like I had been doing them for my whole life. I kid you not. As soon as I gave myself permission to be in that space and allow for my gifts to open up, they did. And it was like a light switch. It was amazing. And getting confidence from doing readings from others, getting validation that the messages I was sharing with them were correct, was so rewarding for me. So I slowly started spinning the health coaching business towards more spiritual topics. And all of a sudden, more clients started coming in. I started doing readings professionally. I really started coaching more on the spiritual topics. And life started to open up. The stress just went away. Those anxious feelings were gone. I don't have them anymore. I don't have that anxiety from sitting anymore and not feeling like I can watch TV. I am so relaxed. I am so grounded. I am so at peace from finally connecting to who I am and to who I am meant to be. So now I am a psychic medium. I do mediumship readings. And they're so beautiful, so rewarding for me to be able to be that translator, that intermediary between the spirit world and the client and deliver the messages to them that they need to receive in the moment. It is such a gift to so many people to be able to hear from their loved ones on the other side. I lost 3 of my loved ones within 1 year, a couple years after college, which was really hard and made the stress, that and the anxiety I was telling you about, that much worse. So with mediumship, being able to connect to those loved ones being able to give those messages to my family members. So rewarding in so many ways that my heart just feels so full from being able to do this work. And now I teach others how to do it. I have a psychic development program for women called the Cosmic Kickstarter, which helps you do the same thing that I did. I wish this program had been around a year ago when I was going through the same thing, because I needed that support, that guidance, that mentorship, that community aspect that I did not have at that time. And so being able to give back and offer that to other women who are going through the same thing that I did is just the most rewarding thing. And when I do readings for clients and I connect to them intuitively and to their spirit guides, usually when the client is undergoing a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry, a lot of fear, it is because they are not being their authentic self, and they are not being who their soul intended them to be. And there is a lot of soul searching and soul discovery work that needs to happen. A lot of conditioning that needs to be pulled back, a lot of layers that need to be pulled back. It is not easy work. It is not easy work, but boy, is it rewarding. All of that healing work is so rewarding in so many ways I can't even describe to you. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being part of my community, this beautiful Emily the Mystic community. I want you to know that you are not alone. You have this community. You have your spirit guides. If you're going through your spiritual awakening right now and it's stressful and it's hard, know that there are so many people who are with you, who love you, who support you through this process. It's going to be okay. You are on the right path. Just know right now, watching this video, you are on the right path. You are in the exact place you need to be right now in this very moment. I'm sending you so much love and light. Everything's going to be okay. I love you. I want you to know that this channel, this community is here for you whenever you need it. So write down in the comments what resonated with you from this video. Maybe you've had a similar life experience with me. Let me know. I would love to hear from you. And make sure to like this video. Make sure to subscribe to this channel for more amazing mystical content like this video. And I will see you guys in the next one.